Now to the United Kingdom. The British Prime Minister may have recovered from the coronavirus, but his country is far from recovery. 158,000 cases and counting, 21,000 deaths and counting. The British economy is expected to shrink by 35%. Unemployment could hit 10% in the coming months. Even toilet paper right now is coveted commodity in the Great Britain. The sun is slowly setting on British supremacy, or whatever little was left of it. Is all of this happening by chance? Were they simply unlucky? Or did Britain sleepwalk into the coronavirus disaster? A new report says it did, by all means. The warnings were there, but they fell on deaf ears at 10 Downing Street. Let's start from the beginning. January 17th, doctors and public health experts in the UK were calling for swift action to prepare for the virus. They warned of human-to-human transmission and cross-border imports. Britain's scientific advisory group even held a meeting with the government. They called for a partial lockdown. The demand was rejected. The British government thought such a move would paralyze an economy already battered post-Brexit. January 24th, the fears turned into reality. The coronavirus had spread from China to 6 countries. The medical journal Lancet said the virus was comparable to the Spanish flu pandemic of 1918. Despite this, Matt Hancock, Britain's health secretary, said the risk to the British public was low. January 29th, the British government held a meeting of COBRA. This is Britain's National Crisis Committee, COBRA. It finally met to discuss the evolving threat. Ministers, intelligence chiefs, military generals all assembled, expecting the Prime Minister to chair the meeting. But Boris Johnson was busy. Busy doing what? Busy celebrating the Chinese New Year. Boris Johnson hosted a reception at 10 Downing Street for Lunar New Year celebrations. In the days that followed, 4 more COBRA meetings to discuss the virus were held. Boris Johnson skipped all 4 of them. The Prime Minister played down the threat. His subordinates followed suit. It was not until the 2nd of March when the British Prime Minister finally found time to attend emergency meetings. The virus had entered the Great Britain by then. There were at least 39 cases of it across the UK, but Boris Johnson wanted his country to throw caution to the wind. He advocated shaking hands with coronavirus patients. You have to hear it to believe it.
Victoria, I can tell you that I'm shaking hands continuously. I was at a hospital the other night where I think there were actually a few coronavirus patients, and I shook hands with everybody, you'll be pleased to know, and I continue to shake hands.
He shook hands with everybody. He paid for it. A week after the statement, the coronavirus was declared a pandemic. By the 14th of March, there were close to 1,200 cases of the coronavirus in the UK. Britain was in a poor state of readiness. There were calls for boosting emergency supplies of protective equipment, but the British government had already sent supplies the other way. In February, 279,000 items from Britain's depleted stockpile of protective equipment were sent to China. This included 43,000 disposable gloves, 194,000 sanitizing wipes, 37,500 medical gowns, and 2,500 face masks, all of them sent to China. The rest, as they say, is history. On the 27th of March, the British Prime Minister himself caught the coronavirus. Shake hands. The number of infections in the country grew daily. Supplies sent to China were impossible to retrieve. NHS workers were left without protection. 50 doctors and nurses at the NHS died in April alone. As of today, the 28th of April, the country is nowhere close to relaxing lockdown restrictions. Britain sleepwalked into this disaster.